As we saw in the previous video, while primitive forms of football were developing in China and throughout the ancient world, nowhere else was the ball the center of attention as it was in Mesoamerica. In the region that today includes Mexico, Honduras, Belize, and Guatemala, the only game played was with a ball, and this remained the case for 3,000 years. From the first settlements on the Gulf of Mexico to the fall of the Aztec Empire with the arrival of the Spanish in 1521, all of these civilizations played ball games. Although it did not have the same grandeur as a Roman Colosseum or Olympia in Greece, the number of ball courts discovered by archaeologists exceeds 1/500. The game is even recorded in the mythological books of the Maya culture, which describe everything from the creation of the world to epic battles between great gods who played ball. These disturbances culminated in a match between gods and mortals, in which the mortals lost and were killed. However, their bodies were rescued by their two demigod sons, who were so skilled at the game that they defeated the gods and brought their father's bodies back to the mortal world, where they became the sun and the moon. This demonstrates that the sport was not just a minor detail in the culture of these peoples, but a central part of their beliefs. The game fascinated the Spanish so much that Columbus took samples of the balls used by the natives back to Europe. Royal chronicler Peter Martyr d'Anghiera wrote, "I cannot understand how the ball, upon touching the ground, bounces back into the air with such elasticity." Today the explanation is simple. The Mesoamericans had something called rubber. While rubber trees are now found throughout the tropics, at that time, only they had access to this technology. However, latex alone could not form a solid ball, until someone had the idea to mix it with the roots of a flower called morning glory. This mixture resulted in a durable, resilient ball. When the only alternatives were gourds or animal hides, a rubber ball must have seemed like an extraordinary technological breakthrough, so much so that the Mesoamericans considered it sacred. Archaeological findings suggest that the first rubber balls emerged around 1500 BCE, but it wasn't until 1200 BCE that they became widespread enough for formal game rules to develop. The Olmecs left behind the earliest known characteristics of the sport, so let's take a look at its peculiarities. The game was played in a courtyard that was part of a temple or a common area where people gathered. The courts were rectangular, shaped like the letter I, with whitewashed walls painted in various colors. The largest courts had multiple layers of stone where spectators could sit and watch. The balls varied in size, ranging from a large softball to a small basketball, and were played between a central line by two players on each team. Judging by the protective gear depicted in sculptures and illustrations, the game was violent, played using forearms, chins, knees, elbows, or even hips. Controlling the ball with feet or the head seemed too dangerous due to its speed. The exact objective is unclear, but it is believed that the goal was to keep the ball in the opponent's field, similar to tennis or volleyball. The way the game was played evolved significantly over these 3,000 years. Over time, only the noble classes participated, sometimes using sticks or bats. The Aztecs introduced stone rings on the sides of the courts and called the sport tlachtli, where the objective was to pass the ball through the rings to score points. When the Spanish arrived, they were so fascinated by the game that they took some equipment and players to the court of King Charles V, where captive athletes played to entertain the nobility. However, the Spanish ultimately deemed the game to be a pagan practice, leading to its prohibition. With the spread of slavery, forced Christianization, and the devastating diseases brought from Europe, the sport, once seen as divine, was doomed to disappear, surviving only in remote regions. Even today, a variation called ulama is still played in some parts of Mexico. Modern football has become the centerpiece of regional culture, and the FIFA World Cup has been held twice in the Azteca Stadium, located just a few kilometers south of the former Aztec capital, Tenochtitlan. There, beneath the foundations of Mexico City's Metropolitan Cathedral, lie the remnants of the great ball courts of the past. It is a global historical tragedy that the success football has achieved in Mesoamerica millennia later is the successor of the destruction brought about by epidemics, slavery, and the cultural eradication imposed by the Spanish conquerors who came before it.